Okay, good day guys. I'm Opynodesigns once more, and welcome to my channel. Um, in this series, we'll be discussing Photoshop. Okay, from the very basics, which is the interface of Photoshop. Okay, in this series, I will try to cover as much as I can on various aspects of Photoshop and its interface. Okay, and what each part of Photoshop does. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, now we are here in Photoshop, and everything you see is what meets you as a beginner in Photoshop. Now most people will come up to me and be like, bro, I'm very confused when I come on this app. I'm like, I don't know where what is, I don't know where this is, I don't know where that is. The fact is, everything is located at very strategic points, and you know, I believe with this video or with this series, you can be able to navigate yourself in and out of Photoshop, all right, and get the best experience out of the app. So just so we know, Photoshop is a raster-based software. What do I mean by raster-based software? Photoshop is specifically meant to edit or manipulate or enhance images. Okay, the primary function of Photoshop is to enhance images, is to work on images, is to work on pictures. Okay, now we are the ones who go ahead to utilize Photoshop in creating other things, such as cartoons, designs, very short clips. Some people go to the extent of using it to create memes. 1 minute, 2 minute short clips for fun or something. I believe without sound or with sound, whichever one you wish. Okay, but the primary function of this app you see here is to work on images. That is why it's a must acquired for photographers. Photographers use a lot of Photoshop and then a lot of Lightroom alongside it. All right, so let's get started. So we're here in Photoshop. As you can see, you have do I call it a block here? Yeah, you have one block here, you have another block here, you have the ones here, and then the ones here. Okay, now first things first, this is your menu button, your menu bar. Sorry, it's a menu bar where you have your file, you have edits, you have images, you have layers, you have type, you have select, you have filter, you have 3D, you have view, you have windows, and you have help. All right, it's called your menu bar. This is like the parent bar. All right, the parent, put it this way, it's like the parent options panel for Photoshop. Okay, everything you select here is modified here, everything you select here is modified here. Okay, so it's your menu bar. With time I will explain this individually. Okay, yeah, that is one. Then the second bar, the second block of icons and all you have are your options bar. Now what are options? Ordinarily, options simply means diversity. It's either this or this, it's either that or that. Yeah, so that is your options bar. And what do your options bar help you do? They help you modify, or they help you tweak, or they help you make your tools act in a certain way. All right, take for example, keep a close eye here. Should I click on this, on the second tool? This is your toolbar. I will get to that. Should I click on this? It changes. The options bar here changes. Okay, you see it, options panel, options bar, whichever one. Should I click on this tool? It changes. Should I click on this tool? It changes. Okay, it keeps on changing to help you acquire your desired effect, your desired purpose. Why you are, it helps you tweak your tool. The thing is, tools can work in multiple ways. You can have one tool functioning in diverse ways depending on how creative you are, or how well you are or how well you get to use the tool. Okay, and this options bar can help you achieve that. Okay, it can help you achieve that. So if I keep on changing these tools, I keep on getting differences, you get right. So just like that. Okay, so that's your options bar. It helps you tweak, it helps you make changes to your tools. Okay, the most basic tool we have in Photoshop is the move tool. You select, you see it move tool, moves moves a selection or a layer. That's just what it does. Okay, should I have a document open in Photoshop, I would explain that the more, but this tutorial is not for tools. Okay, it's just more like an introduction. So when it gets to time for tools, we'll also practicalize that here. Okay, just so we know. So that's that. Here is the menu bar, as I said earlier. Here is the options bar. Now the third one is the toolbar. Everything you'll be working on here, everything you'll be doing in Photoshop is enlisted here. Everything you'll be needing to work in Photoshop, is enlisted here. There are tools, more like someone going to the farm or someone going to the factory, and then if you're a farmer, let me use a local setting. If you're a farmer, your tools are your cutlasses, your tools are your hoes, your machetes. If you want to go very advanced, your machines, those are your tools or implements for work. Same thing applies here. Okay, I will just enlist them. This is your move tool, as it said, move tool. Here is your rectangular marquee tool. Okay, I would have loved to go deeper into these tools, but for the time being, I'll just mention them. Okay, here is your polygonal lasso tool. That's the third one. The fourth is the quick selection tool. Okay, the fifth is the crop tool. You have your color sampler tool. You have your hidden spot tool. You have your brush tool. You have your clone stamp tool. You have the history brush tool. Here is the gradient eraser tool. Here is the gradient tool. Here is the blur tool. Here is the bond tool. There are just one of them. Here is the pen tool, the text tool, the part selection tool, the shape tool or the rectangular tool. Here is the rotate view tool, and then the zoom tool. Okay, now know this, most of these tools are recent additions to more recent versions of Photoshop. I think in initial Photoshops you don't get, I am not so sure, but you don't get this tool, the rotate view tool. I'm not so sure. Okay, a lot of tools here, and know this, these tools have sub tools. Okay, they have like, they are tools, but there are still other tools underneath them. Okay, but like an example, if how you get to know that is if you see this, there is more like an arrow pointing downwards at the right hand side of each tool, just a box, just very little arrow pointing downwards there. How you activate that is to right click. Once you right click, you see the history brush tool, the history art brush tool. An example, a simple example here is okay, it has it. Once I right click, you see the rectangular marquee tool, you see the elliptical marquee tool, you see the single row marquee tool, and you see this single column marquee tool. Once we get to that, I'll break these tools down one by one. I believe these tools will have videos of their own. Okay, videos of their own, practicals. Okay, so that's that about that. Now here, this whole space you see here is your you call it your work panel or your working table, or whatever you do is reflected here. Okay, whatever you do is reflected here. Whatever you're composing, be it your pictures, your images, they're reflected there. Okay, so that's just it. And in accordance with the size you put it in, if you create a square, you have a squared document. If you create a rectangle, you have a rectangular document. If you create a vertical, just the way it appears. Okay, and here is your properties panel. Your properties panel. Properties panel is where you sorry, 1 second. Properties panel or a panel doc, whichever one. There's a lot here. Alright, now my Photoshop is looking this way because I customized it to look this way. It's not this way originally. I customized it to look this way. Alright, so ordinarily what I've had, I rearranged it. Here I have my actions. Here I have these are more complex stuff. Let's not get into that. But here is where you have your layers. I'll explain what layers are in subsequent videos to come. You have your layers, you have your channels, you have your parts. Okay, whatever layer you create is stacked here. Alright, everything that comes together to compose your entire design is stacked here. Okay, I'll come to that later. All these were were customized by me to create a simple, workstation for myself, and also give me enough space to play around here. Okay, so that was why I customized it myself this way. So that is basically what it is. Yeah, and one more important part, in most recent versions of Photoshop, when you open them, you are greeted with this. Yeah, mine is 2018. If you are working with 2019 or 2020, once you open Photoshop, you are met with this document, with this setup panel. You see, it's called a new document. Okay, these are my recents. Your recents are simply the digits you've repeated in the past, like your most recent digits, your most recent works. It automatically stores them in its AI, and then when you open the panel, it pops up. Okay, as it's written here, recent. I have worked with as you see, it's a clipboard. I worked with this in pixels, 67 by 66 pixels, PPI. Okay, here is another one, 5 by 5, 3 by 4. You get. So these are recent projects I have done, and the different sizes I used in creating those projects. Okay, here is saved. Once you come to saved, you might not see anything. Where is photo? It's why I told you guys that Photoshop is originally for photographs. Photographs are ordinarily 5 by 7. The length is 7, the width is 5. Those are standard. That is more like a standard requirement to print out a picture. Right? Picture. I don't know of everywhere in the world, but in Nigeria, where I am, it's like a basic size. Okay, so that's like what you get first. Okay, so it's customized to like give you multiple user experience. Right, it's structured in a way that you don't have problems identifying your way. Here it is now. Every size you see here are recommended sizes for photography all over the world. Standard sizes for photography that are adaptable to both web and mobile. Okay, and also for print. Here is print. Depending on what you want, these are different measurements. This is a letter, this is legal, this is tabloid, this A4. There is A6, A5, A3, B5. These are paper sizes, right? That can you just click on it, click on create. It just goes ahead and gives that exact measurement. Okay. Same thing for art and illustration, 100 by 100, 200 by 200. Once you just click on whichever of them, I click on create. It goes ahead and gives you that dimension on this screen. Okay. So that's what about that. This is web. And the good part is it synchronizes it alongside its required resolution. Have a look here. Should I click on this? The resolution changes to 300. Now what resolution does for you is simply it does how sharp or how blurry your image will appear. Resolutions are just like locking your pixels. The tighter your pixels are locked together, the sharper your image, the more loose it is, the blurrier your image. Okay, now here is web 72. And another part is if your resolutions are very high, you have a higher file size, and you have you have more problems uploading to the web. Okay, compared to when your resolution is small, you have a smaller file size, and then you have easier time uploading to the web. That is why web is automatic. Everything here is set to 72. Everything you get here is set to 72 to make it easy for upload on the web. Okay, same thing with mobile. Mobile is 72. You see it, iPhone, you have iPhone 6, iPhone 6 Plus, iPad Pro. These are different dimensions of screen sizes that are very compatible with your screen, and then wouldn't give you much sweat having to open them on your mobile device. Here is for film and video. Same thing. Okay, same thing. So I could, if I wanted to create a YouTube video, I could go here and look for, I'm not sure, there should be a video, there should be a size here that will be compatible for YouTube or for Instagram. I'll just click on it. Or if I'm not so sure, I could just research and get better results, and then synchronize it to whatever is here, and I get a very good output. Okay, so that's that about this panel. But what you have here is basically your setup. If you do not want to work with any of the take for example, you get a printing job, and you're like, okay, I want to print this billboard or something, and they're giving you the figures and whatever they give, the figures for measurement, sorry, and the figures for measurement they've given you are not very compatible with whatever you have here, you can go ahead and input your own digits. This is the width. I could make it 3. I could make the height 7. I mostly work with inches. I don't want to put pixels, but these are mediums for measurements: pixels, inches, centimeters, millimeters, point, and picas. Okay, so I could click on inches. It would automatically, it's not a square, and whatever is not a square is either horizontal or vertical. Now I will either choose it to be horizontal or vertical. Alright, if I choose horizontal and go ahead, no problem. Here is my resolution, 299. I could bring it down to 72. I could bring it down to up to 300. I could take it above 300, depending. Ordinarily, if I want to print a very large billboard, I will take it to somewhere around maybe 600, because the broader it is, the looser it gets. So I want to retain as much pixels as possible. Okay, here's a color mode. Instead of picking grids, okay, I'll break these color modes down now. CYMK is basically for print. Alright, it comes out sharper for print. RGB color is what we work here, is what we work with as designers. It brings out the actual colors and the actual textures. It makes you see the color with your own eyes. I believe the sensors for a printer are way different. They are constructed differently from that of the actual eye. What the computer sees is not what we see. We see fewer colors. Alright, we see fewer colors. What the computer sees are diverse of colors, and also CMYK is this is cyan, magenta, yellow, and I'm not sure of what the K is. I'm trying to remember it, but RGB is red, green, and blue. Okay, so that's just what it is. Same thing with lab color. CMYK and lab color are very similar. Okay, so I would ordinarily choose RGB color. I'll choose RGB color because I want to get the actual colors. Possibly after designing and all, I could convert it to CMYK for the computer. Okay, so that is basically that about that. So let's just input these digits and see what we have here. Okay, I've created it. Here is my document. Okay, now I have this whole chance to work with, this whole space to work with. Okay, so this is more like a brief run through the interface of Photoshop. Okay, in times to come, I'll be dropping more videos, I'll be dropping more contents, and we'll see how it goes from there. Okay, so if you have been impacted, if you've learned something or two, drop a like, drop a comment, tell me what you would like to see in the next video, tell me what you would like to hear, tell me what you would like me to talk about. Okay, but for the meantime, keep creating, and remember once more to Opynodesign. Have a great day, guys.